Welcome back to Factorio. So, when you last left us, we had all kinds of supply problems, largely hoping that they were going to be resolved through the judicious research and application of advanced oil processing, which we've now done. And after a certain amount of snaking of pipes and reorganization over here, we now have advanced oil processing kicking along quite nicely. So first things first, what that means is that we are getting variable amounts now of heavy oil, light oil, and petrochem gas. Petrochem fuel? Gas? What the hell is it? Petrochem gas. Okay, petroleum gas even. And so that's kicking along nicely. We're now working at a much higher capacity than we were doing beforehand. We're still using up redundant heavy oil in making solid fuel, which may never be used. My intention now is to focus more on solar power than on burners and boilers and steam engines and so forth. But you know, we've got plenty of leftover lubricant that will suffice for making future engines, which is a good thing. Light oil is still fundamentally being turned into solid fuel to power what burners we do use, and the supply there is keeping up really quite nicely. And then the petroleum gas itself is being turned into plastic at a lower rate now because its chest is full, and we've got a plentiful supply going on there. But the most part of it is going into sulfur, which in turn is helping to create us some batteries. Magnificent. So our battery supply problems are sorted for the time being. They're not being provided at a huge rate. Have I got any? Yes, there we go. Well, we've already got productivity modules in there. But we've got a decent backlog of batteries now, to the extent that this provider chest can serve me should it need to. We've got 120 in there, while at the same time servicing the creation of blue flasks. Now I paused research ever so briefly to allow blue flask to kind of create a backlog, but that kind of creates an illusion that you've got everything you need under control. And maybe I do, maybe I don't, but the risk associated with that is that I won't find out until a long time after that problem has kind of manifested itself. So we'll press on, and hopefully that shouldn't be a long-term issue, and we'll fix that when we come to it. So what we're going to talk about today is automating the resupply of projectile weapons. Now, as you can see up here, this area, you know, the kill counts are really are quite respectable, and the aliens hit this area of my base regularly. Now, as much as I quite like laser turrets, using some of the iron that I've got kicking around to generate bullets is actually quite a nice use of it, and projectile weapons do not need any power. So what we're going to build is we're going to come up with an automatic resupply system for these guns. It's actually incredibly simple, especially once you've got a logistic system operational. So all we're really going to do is make a conveyor that sits behind all of these projectile weapons. No, I've got those facing the wrong way. Picking up. There we go. See, get it wrong to start with. Makes you look like a pro. So these guys are going to be supplied by, obviously, a conveyor. In fact, let's put this conveyor in here. Right. And that conveyor itself is going to be supplied by the logistic system. And what we'll do is we'll put this everywhere around the base, where there's ballistics required, because we now have requester chests. I think that probably goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway. Yeah, so we'll slot this all over the place, basewood, and that should ensure. What's a good number? 200's a good number. and make sure that we're being supplied. Now, this particular chest is actually outside the robot area, which is a pain in the backside. Now I can either move the robots around to sort that out, the robot bays around to sort that out, or build a new one. And to be honest, this is such a nice location. I mean, should I ever need this coal, I can expand and wall around it. But I quite like the bottleneck that this lake system is creating, and it should keep the biters off my back, at least temporarily. So let's get some more. Let's get another robo port up and running. And why don't I? And why am I not being resupplied with? I should have Okay, let's put that into a coherent thought, shall we? Why am I not being resupplied with advanced processors? And it's because this chest is also outside. I'm going to have to build a few of these, I can tell. Okay, right, well, let's get another 4 on the trot. I'm not usually one for massive amounts of redundancy in whatever it is that I'm building, but sometimes you just have to go a little bit overboard with it. That's quite a lame excuse, but sometimes you do need to go a little bit overboard with it. Right, let's put the radar in there. I don't need to be carrying that around. In fact, let's put a whole bunch of stuff in there. So this is a standard kind of provider chest. This is where I was originally making steel, which is why there's a fair chunk of it in there. And rather than burning all that steel by smashing the chest and then carrying it across to where I'm making steel now, simply stick up a provider chest and it will empty itself in due course. At least that's the theory. Right, we've now got 3 new roboports, which is a good place to start. So what we want to do is make sure we've got roboport coverage for this chest. So the orange area, for those of you not au fait with the logistic system, the orange area is where robots have a automatic access to whatever it is you're trying to put into the network, whereas the green area is what can be serviced by existing robots. So you need to make sure that any provider or requester chests are within the orange area, while all your structures are within the green. Now, the observant amongst you will kind of go, well, you've got that the wrong way around. No, because, well, yes, but we're going to fix that now. All we're going to do is just flip that around the other way. It can be served from the opposite end, and everybody's happy. Right, stick you here. Bang on one of those. In fact, a regular inserter will do the job there. Let's move it one further out. Just to make sure that first inserter can get hold of what we're delivering. Okay, good. Right, tell you that we're after bullets, please. This, keep a stock of 200 at all times. Now I've got plenty of ammunition in back storage, and within a matter of moments we should see an entire fleet of robotic chums come up and make a drop. Here we go. And so that will then automatically feed all of those ballistic turrets and make sure that they're topped up as much as possible, and it will keep filling that chest until there are 200 items in it. And obviously when that empties out, it will send for more. So those guys will now stay topped up on ammo, which is terrific, but they're not the only ones I've got. What have we got up here? Yeah, here we go. So we've got more bullet shortage going on up here. And this is now within the roboport range, so we can do exactly the same thing here, although I'm going to need to move these pylons around, I think. Oh no, 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 we'll be all right. Yes, we are going to need to move them around. Okay, fine. This is the high risk moment where you cut the power to your defences. Don't do that. It's not wise. You're not going to prosper by doing so. I mean, this whole system, and in fact, increasingly as time goes on, the base is becoming more and more unruly. And this is kind of part and parcel of not building with any set layout or plan from the get-go. Now, I'll fix this at some point, but I'll probably do that as a separate series that I'll call it Making Your Base Neat or something. Hello, chaps. Yeah, there we go. So we are starting to see the larger biters turning up now. And those guys can take quite a kicking. And as such, they can give you quite a kicking. So making sure that our defences are relatively intact is a good thing to do. Yeah, I mean, I'm a little wary of the fact that that along some of the perimeter, my defences are more Spartan than in others. But so far, I've been building up defences pretty much where the majority of attacks are coming from. So it's not ideal, I guess, but it is serving the purpose for the time being. So we've just finished assembly machine research, so assembly machine 3. And that's fun. That means that we can up our output on some of our primary kind of construction areas, not least of all flasks. They're not inexpensive to make, requiring 4 speed modules. So I might set up another factory knocking out speed modules slowly, which is kind of inevitably slowly, I guess. In fact, I can't be bothered building that myself. I'll get an automated system doing that. What do we want? More robot speed, electrical distribution. I want all this stuff kind of pronto. Let's have lab efficiency. Lab efficiency is good because then we get the results of that sooner rather than later, because that will help on future research as well. Good. Actually, where does this... Oh, we've got a good solid connection across the whole kind of northern perimeter of the factory. So have we still got any ballistics up here? No, they're all laser, which is fine, and they've been doing a marvellous job. I think it's only a matter of time, having a quick look at the map here, before we have to go take out the sizable alien infestation to the north. I've got no kind of resource requirement up there. I mean, that copper field looks quite nice, but it's not something that I'm desperately in need of right now. I should possibly get some more radar up to scout for me, but again, this is not something that I urgently need right now. I've still got a fair amount of iron on the go, and if I decide to increase that, then maybe this dual iron copper field in the middle of forest here might be the way to go. Exciting. Although saying that, I may well have enough resources now to push through to the end times. Maybe that's a little optimistic on my part, but I certainly feel somewhat confident that I'm doing all right on the resource front. Okay, splendid. Let's go just have a quick check along the rest of the perimeter for any more gun turrets that need topping up. Yeah, you can have this extra ammo I'm carrying around. It's tempting, of course, to remove perimeter defences that just over the course of time have ended up inside your base or inside your perimeter wall. And yes, certainly. I mean, when you get to lasers, because even on standby, lasers do use power. Stuck in a tree. But when it comes down to it, the number of times my base gets broken into, either because they found an inadequate piece of defense, or they've just brought the thunder and smashed through my front line, Why are you leaving that open? That's not smart, is it? Just take it up there. There you go. Look, they're not getting in there now. Yeah, so I tend to leave defensive positions where they are inside the base long after they've kind of served a primary purpose, just purely because the buggers keep getting in, and frankly, I'd rather have something to deal with them rather than having to do it myself. So we'll just go down to Copper Central and make sure that they're serviced in a ballistic sense, because I'm pretty certain I've not made that 100% laser as well. Although maybe I have. Maybe I've been progressive and forward thinking in that sense. It would be, you know, there is a first time for everything. So yeah, so it isn't uncommon to see legacy defences just kind of floating around inside the base. And I know that the top of this wall here is also currently unprotected, but I have wiped out an awful lot of the alien scourge on that side of things, and so far that hasn't proved to be a problem. No, here we go, 100% laser. Good show. Might be worth double thicknessing the wall though. I don't like the look of that alien hive to the south. Oh, and there's a bit more iron there. Okay, well we can just use that. Right, fine, good. Splendid. Okay, so so that's got my defences kind of happier. Hello, what's going on here? You really can't see very much in the dark. Let's build a couple of lamps. There we go. Nope, these are all laser as well. I don't think there's enough if the bad guys decide to bring the big biters. So I might up the number of lasers in position there. There we go. Have some light. You can see what you're doing. So this is my my wall manufacturing department, largely to supply the logistics system, because invariably walls get destroyed and are needed to be replaced by the robots. So the combination of robots and an auto resupplying now guns. Ah, look, here we go. Here's the rest of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we'll put one more resupply route here. Zoom in a little bit. This bird's eye view stuff is all well and good, but I like to be able to see what I'm doing. Grand. We'll come at it from an alternate angle. What are you doing with that? Put it down. Splendid. I'm sure I had more than this. Where have I put them, I wonder? Maybe I've just left them in a chest for a bit of later on resupply kind of action. Bullets, please. Lots of bullets. There you go, off your trot. And let's power these up. I mean, this is, you know, it's almost ridiculously stupid, because I could just as easily, if I'm powering this area for the inserters, I could just as easily power up some laser turrets. I'm sure there's a comparison to be made in the idle power usage of laser turrets versus the idle usage of inserters, which I'm fairly certain is 0. But I need to go. Oh, hello. Who are you? There's quite a chunk of stone in there. Evidently a stone mine in the past. There you go. You sit in there. I'm sure you'll reach coverage at some point. I'm not going to make you a dedicated roboport, or am I? Where's my roboport coverage? No, roboport coverage is fine. You're on your own. All right, splendid. I think that wraps it up for now. Where are we going next? So everything's kind of moving along quite nicely. I don't think our defences are anywhere near strong enough, but it'll be entertaining to find out when that happens. Blue flasks are kicking along, although admittedly not fast enough. So I think maybe some factory upgrades are in order. So I'm going to get a factory system set up to produce assembly machine 3s, and I'll get that done, and then we'll catch up again. Why not stop by? Thank you very much.